section.
Hello YouTube, my name is Nick and I'm a watch collector from San Francisco, California. This is going to be my first YouTube video and I want to take this time to talk to you guys about a very important topic regarding the demand side of the watch industry, and that is, what watch should a person get for his or her first watch? Namely, which brand? And whenever this question comes across me, I always respond Rolex, and this is why. I'm going to break it down. First of all, when someone is looking to buy their first watch, their price floor is usually $4,000 and their price ceiling is usually $10,000. Within this price interval, there are a lot of brands, a lot of good brands. We have the trinity of the forefront of luxury watches, which are Breitling, Rolex, Omega. But we also have the likes of Panerai, Glashütte, Nomos, Ulysse Nardin, and the lower end of Vacheron Constantin, namely the overseas collection without the chronograph movement in stainless steel. Now, in my opinion, in order for someone to enjoy their watch in a plenary fashion, there are two tiers to that. The first tier is obviously they need to get a really good watch, a really solid watch, a really well-known watch. But the second one is that the watch needs to hold its value, because that's kind of a reassuring factor that this person has spent his or her money wisely, that it was a good investment, it was money well spent. These two combined make for the most satisfying experience, which these people deserve. They've spent anywhere between 1 and 5 years, maybe even longer, saving up this money so that they can enjoy the fruits of their hard work, and this is their time to shine. And so they deserve both these aspects, not just one, but both. And in my opinion, the only brand within this $4,000 to $10,000 bracket that offers both of these aspects is Rolex. Now, whenever I say this, the counter argument I usually get is that you shouldn't really carry these quantitative aspects in the forefront of your mind. At the end of the day, you need to buy what you love. Now, I'm 100% behind that. You need to buy what you love. But in my opinion, people who are looking to buy their first watches are not really in the position to say, oh, I'm going to make this Faustian bargain that I am going to relinquish future value and future equity in exchange for emotional satisfaction, or satisfaction that comes from some sort of intangible source, like usually I love it, I love it because I love it kind of thing. To me, the kind of people who make those sort of judgments are very experienced, seasoned, and elite collectors. Most of these collectors are usually looking at highly boutique brands that come out of workshops that have 5 staff members total, 3 of them watchmakers. Now, most of these brands, if not all, have very, very little resale value, just due to the fact that there's really no market for them. There's no demand, because mostly due to the fact that people don't know about these brands. So one, if you buy this watch and you want to sell it, either you're not going to sell it at all, or you're going to take about a 60 to 70% depreciation hit. Now, these people who are looking at these kind of watches truly buy these watches because they like these watches. Their train of thought sounds something like, I went to SIHH this year and I found out that the guy who hand engraved my movement, the movement of the watch that I want to buy, polished the movement, assembled the movement, polished the case of the watch, and assembled the watch, is from Mumbai. Now, most of the time, these watch brands, these workshops have so little staff members that each staff member or each watchmaker is working on the same watch. Like the entire production of this watch is this guy or this lady's responsibility solely. And since this hypothetical buyer I'm speaking about goes to SIHH and finds out that the watchmaker who was responsible for the entire production period of this watch was from Mumbai, and this guy's from Mumbai as well, he feels a certain connection with the watch and wants to buy it. even though it costs $1.5 million and he'd be lucky to sell it tomorrow for $100,000, something along those lines. Or something else that I've heard, some other justification for buying one of these watches I've heard is, oh, the technique to make the movement of this watch that I want to buy was developed 250 years ago in some Swiss village that my great-grandmother is from. Therefore, he or she feels an emotional connection with the watch. These people genuinely know about these watches and feel a connection with them, which is why they're willing to sacrifice future value and future equity for the emotional connection, therefore emotional satisfaction they would obtain by buying the watch. But in order to be one of these collectors, they have to have a very deep understanding of the heritage of this watch and watchmaking in general, and a very deep understanding of the company and the people who are like behind the desks putting the watch together. Another type of people who are willing to spend this kind of money on these kind of watches are people who are in circles where a Patek Philippe 2499 is just an everyday thing. A Patek Philippe 2499 is a perpetual calendar chronograph made by Patek Philippe that costs anywhere from $250,000 and up. And if they're hanging around circles where that's just a common thing, an everyday thing, they're going to want to buy a watch that would make them stand out because it costs $1.5 million and no one's ever heard of it, and therefore it makes them special. And they're willing to and for this novelty value, they're willing to sacrifice future value. Out of all these things I mentioned, none of these things describe the first-time collector. This is not to say that first-time collectors will not reach that position in the future, but they're just not at that position now. First-time collectors usually, the things that they know about watches come out of Google, come out of a catalog that they got from visiting the authorized dealer, something like that. They just don't have that sort of knowledge, that sort of acumen, that sort of erudition that is necessary to make a judgment like that. Oh, I'm willing to buy this watch because I love it so much. I don't care if I buy it for $4,000 today and I'd be lucky to get $1,500 for it tomorrow. In my opinion, what these people or consumers really want is for a very, very solid, well-known watch that will hold its value. And in that $4,000 to $10,000 bracket, the only thing that comes to my mind is Rolex. Thank you very much for watching my video. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it is informative. And please comment on my video if you disagree, if you agree. I am very excited to hear what you guys have to say. Thank you very much for spending your time to have a look at my video. Cheers.